Oh, hi there. I'm Matt Stillwell, Assistant Director of Education for the Wisconsin Materials Research Science and Engineering Center. You just got me looking at my phone here. You know, if you're like me, you've probably taken these phones for granted at some point. But they really are marvels of modern technology, enabling us to access all of human knowledge and connecting with people around the globe, all while fitting in our pockets. It makes me wonder what all goes into making a device like this. Well, I recently sat down with Camille Bishop, a graduate student at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, to learn more about the research she's doing on materials that might go into one of these, and to learn a bit more about her. Let's take a listen. Camille, thank you very much for taking the time to meet with me today. Will you tell us a little bit more about your research?
Essentially, in my research, we're looking at making glasses. So typically, right, when you think of a glass, think of a window or a wine glass. But the glasses that we work with, um, they're just defined as glasses because of how their molecules are arranged. So if you think of a crystal like a snowflake, right, everything's kind of in a grid. It's very regular. Whereas a glass is basically the opposite of that. All of the atoms are just very randomly aligned. So we'll basically produce our glasses by vaporizing molecules, getting them into the gas phase, and then we basically condense them onto a solid surface. And we look at how the temperature that we do that at and how fast we do it basically affects the glass properties. The really big thing that I like to keep in mind when I'm thinking about applications for the research is both what we have done, like what people have done with this research before, and then also, the real reach, the things that can't be done yet, but that might be accessible one day. So right now, the types of glasses that we make have been successfully applied to OLED screens. So those are the screens in pretty much all modern smartphones, TVs, for example. So these glasses are actually the emitting layers. And if you create them at the right temperature, basically they can be, I think, 50% more efficient. And obviously, on the scale of how many of those displays there are in the world, it'd be a big deal.
Camille, what's the most exciting thing you've experienced in the lab?
I think maybe the most exciting lab discovery we made. So basically, so there's this one molecule that I vapor deposit, and it makes these really cool, highly structured glasses. So we took something with a really similar chemical structure that, from outward appearances, looked pretty boring, and so we kind of vapor deposited it as a boring test case, right? So you can say this is really boring, it does this, and we change one atom and all of a sudden it does this. But then that boring molecule ended up making really cool, highly structured glasses as well. So the first time that I put it in the X-ray beam, seeing that the glass looked almost the same was incredibly exciting. It was just a really, really cool, really unexpected, and I knew that, I was excited about it, everyone else would be excited about it. I think it was just the excitement of realizing that, like, I had made a brand new discovery that just no one else had made. And, like, that's super exciting. I love doing that.
So, Camille, did you like science as a kid? Was it just kind of a thing that you had to do?
So I really wasn't a big fan of science as a kid because a lot of the science classes that you do, I feel like going through elementary and middle school are just kind of almost felt like grab bags, and like I was just memorizing a lot of information. So I actually more preferred my English classes and my art classes.
So, what did you, when you were younger, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I know that I remember saying to my dad once that I definitely didn't want to be a scientist in about eighth grade. And I think for a while I wanted to be maybe an architect. Up until I think in 10th grade, I started to change my mind. So I think we had to take chemistry, but I just had a really, really fabulous teacher, Mr. Yoder. And I don't know, he was just fun. He made the subject material really fun. It was also the first time that I had realized that math was useful. The first time that I saw it being applied to problems that I thought were kind of cool.
Kind of shifting into this research role, what was the most surprising thing about research for you?
So I think there were kind of two big surprising things for me about research. The first was just kind of how collaborative it is, and how much everyone around you is really willing to help. Um, Another really big thing was, moving to research. So the first time I worked in a research lab was my junior year of college. And I'd always kind of thought of science as more of a thing and that, you memorize and either you know science or you don't. But research really seems to be like a cool process of basically being able to take little bits of knowledge from different places, and just working with them more. And really, like, if you don't understand something, it's okay. You have a chance to understand it. Like, you can always ask someone or read more. Um, so it just feels a lot lower pressure, I would say, than my science classes ever did.
So what sorts of things do you enjoy doing when you're not doing cutting edge research in the lab?
Well, I would say that, especially now, I really like to bike.
So
So
you
I
got
do
your
a
bike
lot of that.
right behind you?
Yes, I actually have like two bikes
Oh,
on the lawn,
nice.
road bikes down there. So yeah, I've been road biking a lot since I moved here. And then my friend and I actually decided to start mountain biking the other week. So I'm learning to do that.
Nice.
Uh, then also, I figured if I moved to Wisconsin, I should start playing hockey. So,
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
yep, just had to fit in up here. So yeah, I play a lot of ice hockey now. I like to do pickup sports with my friends, and then I also like to cook a lot. Cook for my friends, share meals, and then I do like to, just travel, see friends, go to concerts.
So Camille, if you could go back in time and meet your younger self, what words of encouragement would you give her?
I would tell my younger self that you can still really like science and really like math and be cool, and it will all work out. And if people think that you're not cool for liking science and math, they're wrong, and they'll regret it. They'll come around eventually. They'll realize it's cool.
So Camille, what are your plans after you graduate?
Well, so first, I'm going to graduate, and then I'm going to work here for a few months as a postdoc, finishing up a few projects, and then in November, I'm off to NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, over in DC, and I'm going to start a postdoc there to work with developing X-ray techniques to look at kind of polymer materials that you might use in an organic electronic device.
Camille, I want to just say thank you again for taking the time to speak with me today. Uh, I hope you are able to rock and roll your thesis defense, and I wish you the best of luck at NIST.
Thank you. Thank you. It was great to be here, virtually here.